Welcome to Hometown Heroes. This is Rick Irving and my co-host Mary Staffeld, and we're coming to you today to talk about not only Hometown Heroes podcast, but we want to talk about some of our heroes and those people that are come to roll call. Roll call is a monthly veterans luncheon. We've been talking about it since day one, but it's a great organization. We've got a lot of great people, not just veterans, but a lot of volunteers and a lot of supporters that
Mhm.
come every month to roll call. So, Mary, little did
Yeah.
we know 3 years ago that whenever we walked into Larry O'Neill's Fort Worth Memories Museum and sit down with him and started talking to veterans and talking to these hometown heroes, that 3 years later, we'll have, I think today is 145 episodes. That's not bad for two old veterans.
No, that's not bad at all. But, and you bring up the volunteers that we're going to talk about, and we absolutely can't do it without them, and they're just so key to us being able to do what we do.
Absolutely. And let's just start here with our friend. This is
This
Brenda.
is Brenda Linhart, and she is the whole key behind roll call.
Oh,
She, you are.
who?
You've been cooking lunch for these veterans for
How many
8 years.
years? Is it 8 years?
At least 8 years
Yeah.
or 9 years, maybe
Yep.
9 years.
Yep.
Every month except for July, and
Just July.
so that's a lot of meals.
That's a lot of
A
meals.
lot of meals, and you met a lot of veterans.
I have. We started out with what, like 135, and now we're up to 500.
And we'd have more than that if we had room.
Yes. When we get back to Birchman, we'll have more
Yeah.
room.
And so you and I have known each other since a
Seventh
long
grade.
time, 1965
Oh, my
probably.
goodness. You're old, and I'm
66.
not.
Yeah, she says that, but her birthday is a month before mine.
Sorry.
Uh-oh.
Sorry.
It's probably somebody that's calling to.
Wanting our, okay, never mind.
Anyway, Brenda and I have been friends a long time,
Long
and
time.
it's so good to see all the things that you've done and that you've accomplished. Just with your catering service and being a hostess at the church, and then feeding all these veterans.
Says the man who goes all over the state taking pictures and meeting people and hobnobbing, and anyway, you're the one that's done all that. My
Thank
dear
you
one.
for
all I do is cook.
all you do, because you prepare these meals. You've got a staff that works with you, and then you kind of help coordinate all the people that have to put it together, all these volunteers.
No,
that
we
come
couldn't do
out.
it without 'em.
Oh, yeah.
Well.
And they're so important.
Yes, so important.
So important.
So I couldn't
So-
do it without them. This meal would cost $25 a head
Oh, yeah.
if I didn't have all these free people.
Yeah.
So
But anyway, this is Brenda Linhart, and she is a sweetheart.
I am.
Thank you for all you do, Brenda.
I love you, Rick.
God bless you.
That's our friend Brenda. And
Yeah.
Brenda is a very important part of roll call. And she's been there longer than just about anybody else.
That's true. Ever since Roll Call moved to Birchman in 2016, Brenda has been serving the meal. And you talk about, when they first got to Birchman was probably, like she said, around just over 100. I know when I started there, going to roll call and being on the board, I think we were at somewhere around 200 people that she was serving in 2017. And in what, we are blessed that the money that we raised, we don't have any paid staff, as we've talked about before. Nobody gets paid. We do our best to manage every dollar the best we can. And the church is great because they give us the venue at no cost. And Brenda has done that food as at low of cost as she possibly can. So we've been able to feed veterans, and word of mouth. We don't, people are always like, you need to get out and go in the community and set up tables and tell people about roll call because people don't know about you, but we don't have anywhere to put them. So, part of that is word of mouth. We get 20 to 30 new people every month. And, we do lose some. We have an older crowd. So we have folks that we lose, that pass away, or we have folks that have to move in with family somewhere else, that sort of thing. But Brenda has consistently made the food, and people are always like, well, what's the meal going to be? And sometimes they'll ask me, they'll send me an email or a message and, hey, what's the meal going to be? Well, I don't know. All I know is it's going to be good, because she gets that number the Monday before the lunch, sometimes the Tuesday, if I've got a lot of people canceling and I'm filling in, wait list people or anything like that. But she'll get that number, and then she'll go out and she'll get with her vendors, and she'll determine what can she make for that size group at the best cost. But the food is good. People always say the food is so good. So she bases what she's going to make on that. So she has been doing that for a very long time now. At the holidays, she makes special meals. So she'll make November and December. Those are a little bit more of the traditional type meals. And then she expanded into doing birthday cakes for the World War II veterans that we're celebrating. So now when I turn in a number, I also turn in if we have any World War II veterans that will be celebrating a birthday with us at that luncheon. And she has a special cake for them. She was doing the desserts, but between Ridgemar Place and Town Village Crossing, their Pegasus properties that are senior living communities, they've been providing the desserts. So that's helped out a bit, but she definitely has taken it. And even during Lent, for the folks that don't eat meat, I turn in numbers for that. Very seldom do we have somebody that asks for a special accommodation, but if they let us know in advance that they need a gluten-free meal or they need a vegetarian meal, then I let Brenda know and she'll take care of that as well. So the process has evolved a bit, but to watch the operation, and I spent 20 years in the restaurant business, so I clearly appreciate it. And I love my former Applebee's coworker, Bill LaValle, who now works for Boomer Jacks, who comes and helps volunteer. And it's fun to watch him helping Brenda, because he understands the food service business. So we both do. And it's just kind of fun to watch how it all works from the understanding how the food service industry works.
And once a year we have it out at the base, and that's about 700 or 800 meals. And she has to prepare all that stuff someplace and then bring it there. And it's amazing to see how fast our volunteers jump in there and serve those meals to those veterans.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's crazy. People don't believe me when I say nobody stands in a line. We don't have that kind of gig going on. People don't realize how much time that takes if you have people go stand in a line. Instead, we have to have enough volunteers because we only have about 20 minutes for the meal period between the time that we finish posting the colors and do our intro to the time that we start our program. So it's about 20 minutes for them to eat and visit. And it takes that group of volunteers at the most, usually about 10 minutes, to put a plate on a table in front of the veteran, which is amazing.
And all those veterans have been to basic training, so they're used to eating fast.
And we don't mind if they keep eating while somebody's talking either, because the first, 10 or 15 minutes is announcements and losses and that kind of stuff. So it's fine for them to keep eating. They're just not talking, which is what they're doing while they're eating their meal. And so it always works out. By the time the speaker is ready to get up and do their talk, that most folks have already been done eating, and those volunteers have gone back to the tables and cleared the plates off of the table. So there's a whole process to it. It's just like if and like she said, 25, that would even be cheap. If you go find an event space, you pay the cost of the event space, and then you pay for the food, you're usually talking about $40, $50, $60 a head if you're lucky, because they have to have the servers that then will put, especially if they're putting plates in front of people and clearing plates. you're talking a nice little pretty penny to have that done. And that's where we're blessed with how it all works.
We're blessed because we have a board that is made up of some great people. I'm a former board member, and I know a little bit about the inner workings. There's no paid staff, and you run a very frugal ship. I mean, we have resources to go do things, to take the veterans places, and do other things besides just the luncheon. But Roll Call is one of those organizations that runs things very well, and so that's a tribute to the board, and just like Brenda helps in cutting down the cost. And the venues we have, Birchmont Baptist Church and Willow Park Baptist Church, they donate their facilities
exactly
to us. So we're really blessed.
Yeah.
When we're talking about veterans, let's talk with Jack Stowe. I had a little conversation with Jack, and Jack's a marvelous guy. So let's listen to Jack.
Jack Stowe. Jack Stowe is a Navy veteran, World War II.
Amen.
And how old are you now, Jack?
98.
98, and you joined the Navy at age
15.
Across the equator?
Well, I was 16 when I crossed the equator, 1943.
You had all your stuff done by the time you were 18, didn't you?
Yeah, I got out 4 years in the Navy. Got out when I was 19. At 19 years old, I'd been 4 years in the Navy.
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
You were telling us those stories about whenever you were out in California. You were only 15 years old, but you were going around with all these girls that were a little older, weren't they?
Yeah, you put on that uniform and something magic happened. Them poor girls, they didn't know this was going to a 15-year-old boy.
I think that's against the law.
Yeah, they might have got him. Yeah.
The statute of limitations, I'm sure, has run out.
Yeah, they run out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How have you been?
I've been good. I'll be 99 in September. Got about 4 more months.
That's coming up.
Yeah. I got a couple of fishing trips paid for if I make 100, so I got to make 100.
I want to go on one of those fishing trips with you and take pictures of you catching fish when you're 100.
Yeah. Well, I just got back off a trip.
Did you?
Yeah.
Where'd you go?
The private lake up at Hillsboro.
Okay.
And my son and I, we had about 60, 70 pounds of live weight.
Oh,
and
wow.
had a good time.
That's good.
He's 76. He says not many 76-year-old men get to fish with their dad. So,
No, there's not.
that's probably right.
Thank you, Jack.
Yeah,
God bless you.
You take care.
So that's Jack, and Jack's he's just a gentleman and so pleasant to be around.
I just love Jack. He is, like you said, he is a gentleman, and he just is so humble and kind. And, he used to make breakfast at the American Legion every Tuesday morning for the longest time. And he still goes to the Haltom City American Legion. So if anyone ever wants to go visit with him, you can find him there having breakfast on Saturday mornings. But he is, he's amazing. And we talk about him going fishing and talk about all of the activities he does. He just got back from Normandy. I don't remember how many times now he's been, 3 or 4 to Normandy. He's going to go to Pearl Harbor this year. He is also, we got him on a trip to Fredericksburg. So we're going to get him down to Fredericksburg in the beginning of September. He hadn't been there. So we're going to get him out there. So I talked to him a week or 2 ago, and because he had told me before, hey, if I ever get the chance, I would really like to do that. So we were able to get that worked out. So we're going to get Jack down there in September. And, we've had him recognized at the Rangers game, and he's just one of those really kind people. He was at Mount Olivet. I told him, Jack, I'm going to come pick you up. He lives in Haltom City, very close to 820 and Beach Street. And And I said, I'll come pick you up that morning and get you out there. And he called me like a week later and he said, there's not a need for you to drive over here. I drive myself, wherever. And he said, he told me he has family buried at Mount Olivet and it would be fine. He knows his way. It's no problem. And he did. He drove himself to the cemetery. And in fact, last year, coming back from a fishing trip, he got in a pretty bad accident. And I was picking him up for something right after that happened. He totaled his car, but he was fine. But he was coming back from a fishing trip and just was trying to make a left-hand turn. And there was somebody in front of him moving a little slow. And he went to take that left and couldn't see the vehicle coming at him from the other direction. But fortunately, he walked away without a scratch and the car was totaled.
It's amazing to think about people that old still driving, but our friend Fisk Hanley, he, at 99, he was driving the VA in Dallas,
Yeah.
and then Don, I used to call Don in the afternoon sometime. Don, where you at? Oh, I'm up here at the WinStar. Who'd you go with? I drove up here.
Yeah, when he was 98 years old, he was driving to the casino, no doubt about it. But Jack is really very special, and anybody that gets a chance to talk to him should, because he's got such a great sense of humor. He's just fun.
And we have a podcast we did several months ago with Jack, and what I was talking about the girls, he was doing basic training and other training in San Diego and out in California, and those sailors would go out on the town. He was 15 years old. Those girls that were 19, 20, 25 years old, they had no idea he was 15 years old. Like you said, put that uniform on and the magic happens. But he has some great stories, crossed the equator and became a shellback when he was 16 years old. Not many 16-year-old kids have any clue what a shellback is, but Jack's a shellback. So
yeah, and he has that great story about that when he got his certificate, he rolled it up and he found a piece of bamboo and he put it in the bamboo and it sat there for like 50 years. So it was in great condition, and his son took it and mounted it, framed it, and put the bamboo pole in there too. So it's really neat when you get a chance to look at it. But man, is he a special guy. So I really would encourage people, when you see Jack out in public, you need to go just chat with him, ask him some stories, ask him about Oklahoma and his phone call pretending to be an officer. That's a fun one too.
What a great guy. Another friend that we have is Major General Mitch Hansen. And Mitch is a great supporter of
Major
roll call.
General Mitch Hansen. And he's a friend of mine, Air Force. And Mitch, that second star kind of snuck up on me because I was at a function and I looked down there, and I'm used to seeing Brigadier General, and this is a year ago, I guess. And all of a sudden it said Major General. I said, what's going on? So
I said the same thing. It's kind of snuck up on me as well. No, it's been an honor. It really has. This month is 36 years of service in the Air Force, and never in a million years did I think I would serve this long. But I've thoroughly enjoyed it. I enjoy serving our country. I enjoy serving people, and to me that's kind of what leads in, what we're here at Roll Call, is y'all do a great job serving people, as well as the Fort Worth community does a great job in serving our base. I've been at many bases over the years. I've never seen a community that's more involved, more supportive. Anytime we want anything, we talk to the community, and they bend over backwards to help us. So it is a great, great community.
and we've got some great organizations besides just Roll Call. We have the Fort Worth Air Power Council, the Air Power Foundation, Holidays and Heroes. And then just community in general. They just really support the people out there at NASJRB in a big way. And you're still stationed here, or are you stationed somewhere else?
No, I wish I was stationed here. No, I'm at the Pentagon now. Okay. So I started at the Pentagon about 3 months ago. So I'm at Headquarters Air Force Operations, I call A3. And so it's any and everything having to do with the Air Force. So it's pretty awesome job. I'm amazed that we've got about 1,000 people that work in Air Force operations. And I'm pretty amazed at the quality of people, the quality of work, what all we have our fingers in and what we're doing. It's an awesome job. Really an honor to be up there and do what I do.
It's really an eye-opening experience for you, I'm sure, to see that part of our military.
It is. It really is. And as a reservist, I'm there, 95%, active duty. And so I get to put a little different lens on it. So I look at it, sometimes from the reserve perspective, but it's really, really cool to see. And my boss is Lieutenant General Spain, and he's a great boss. I hope he keeps moving up the ladder. Yeah, he is really a smart, even keel guy, and that's the kind of leaders we need in the Air Force.
And we've got some good leaders because we have you.
Well, I appreciate that. I'm the luckiest guy in the world. I really am. I've just been very blessed to be where I'm at and do what I do, and I said just very lucky.
What airplanes did you fly?
A-10 most of my career. About 20 years in the A-10, a little over 3,000 hours in that. Deployed on it a few times, and then I was fortunate enough to fly the F-16 out here at Carswell for about 3 years. And that's tough for an old guy. I started that when I was about 51 years old, flying the F-16, and that's not an easy transition.
That's a little faster than the A-10,
Oh
isn't
my
it?
goodness, it's a lot faster, a lot smaller. It's a lot more complicated. But I love both of them. Two best airplanes we have, in my opinion. I know others have their differing opinions, but
And I think the A-10 is one of my favorite airplanes. Just it's just a cool airplane, and it's a powerful weapon
it
system.
is. Anybody that's Army or Marines loves the A-10.
They appreciate the A-10.
That's right. We've supported them many times.
The F-16 just kind of flies by, but the A-10 kind of sits with you and
It does. It
makes
does.
sure that you get out alive.
You can see it coming too.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much.
Well, thank you,
And,
Rick. Thank you for what you do.
well-
You do so much for this community and for Roll Call and Air Power and Holidays and Heroes, all those great organizations you're integral in, and I appreciate what you do.
Well, it's fun. It's fun to serve.
It is.
It is.
It absolutely is.
And Memorial Day is coming up, and we need to remember those men and women
Absolutely.
that aren't with us any longer. So
Absolutely. Thank
we
you.
have a happy Memorial Day, but let's really remember the reason for Memorial
I
Day.
agree. Amen.
Mitch, thank you
said it
so
well.
much.
Thank you, Rick.
God bless you.
God
and
bless
God
you.
bless the United States Air Force.
Amen. Thanks, Rick.
Thank you. What a great guy Mitch is.
He is one of my favorite bosses.
And you got to work with him. And
I did. He was my wing commander once upon a time. And not only is he fabulous and gets it, I saw he's wearing his SPAD patch. So he's got the 457th part of the 301st Fighter Wing patch on. But not only was he really great, his wife, Lisa, was just an amazing part of that team because, the sometimes the wives are real involved and they take great care of the airmen as they can through the Key Spouse program and any other way they're able. But, and sometimes they're more active than not. And she was just really amazing and was, really, I think, helped make him even better at taking care of the people, which, that's always been my key concern is, we got to get planes up in the air. That's what we're there for. We're there to make sure that those at the time F-16s were fully, mission capable, and that they could get off the ground and go do their mission. But you can't do that if the people aren't taken care of and the people aren't prepared to do the work they need to do to make sure that pilot can get off the ground. So they were outstanding, both of them, and I really enjoyed working for him. I was able to be there when he had his promotion party for when he put on that second star. That was a real blessing to be able to be there for that. I got to see another one of my former commander. Well, I think I got to see a couple of them, but it was a really nice time. And he's at the Pentagon, but as long as he's in town, the day of the roll call luncheon, He comes in his flight suit, and he gets there early enough to visit with people, and then he sticks around to chat with them afterwards as much as he can, because he understands how much they love to connect with the I call them the flight suit gods, but they like to hear the stories, what's going on and what's it like, and all that kind of stuff. So it's really pretty cool.
And he's so sincere.
He
Whenever you're talking to him, he's there. He's focused in. And somebody made a comment after I posted that, or maybe it was just after roll call. How come they don't introduce that general that sits up there? I thought, that's just Mitch. He comes there every month, that he can. I mean, that's just Mitch Hansen,
Right.
So, that's Mitch Hansen.
Yeah, he's not there. He's not there to be recognized or to be, like when I'll say, well, I can put you at, this table or that one. He's like, no, I'm just going to sit wherever there's a seat. And it's just the way that he is. That's the kind of leader that understands and knows that it's people, as a first sergeant, we always said people first, mission always. And you get that in the right order and things happen, and he gets it. He really is, to your point, he is sincere. That is who he is.
And you see, some of the generals that we're real familiar with, you see their passion that they have for serving, for serving people, like Kevin Pottinger, I mean, he and his wife Ann, they have such a passion for helping people. And just like Mitch, whenever you go to some place, all of a sudden here comes Mitch and his wife, to support our veterans, and it really supports our World War II veterans,
Right. Yep.
So,
and General Pottinger was another one of my wing commanders. So they're everywhere. And I really had that 15 years I spent at the 301st Fighter Wing was for me overall a really great experience, because for the most part, with probably one exception, I think every wing commander was really engaged and really wonderful. I think we only had one that just really, he wasn't a big people person. Not that he did anything wrong. It wasn't he wasn't an outgoing, wanting to get real around the people. He was very introverted, but for the most part, man, I was blessed to work with some incredible leaders.
And you'll talk about those fighter pilots. They're kind of a rare breed.
Yes. Yeah. People used to tell me, that they all think too much of themselves and this and this and this. And, and I was reflecting on that. And I had a conversation with another person, another senior NCO, and we were talking, and in that conversation, you realize you got to think about the difference between what we call a fighter and a heavy, right? So you got the fighter guys that are what we have at the 301st, and they're going up in a plane, one person in that plane, and they're wingmen. So you'll notice they're usually up in twos. So they'll go 2, 4, 6 as they're taking off. But in a heavy, you've got a pilot with a whole crew, right? They got a co-pilot, they got a navigator, they got a flight engineer, they got all these people, right? So a heavy pilot flying a large plane has a whole group of people that they're normally interacting with, and they have a different mission set. A fighter is one guy in a jet putting warheads on foreheads, and his job is to go up there and take out the enemy. And he doesn't have a whole crew up there, so they don't have that same interaction normally with a whole crew that the heavy pilots do. So there is a little bit of a difference. They do have to have a little bit of a different mentality, because the chances are that if they're going into battle, they got to rely on themselves and their wingman. They aren't relying on a whole crew. They've got to have a little bit more of an edge to do what they do, right, than the guy who's doing the cargo. And the cargo is incredibly important. We can't do anything without it. But they're just different mission sets, and so your personalities of the people that choose those routes are different. And I never needed anything from any of them, and they always needed stuff from me as the education person. So I had a different relationship with them than, say, a maintainer might. So my experiences were always very positive with our pilots, and I expected them to be a little bit cocky, because you have to be to do what they do. As they get a little older and more mature and they start leading more people, then they learn the other skill. They learn the soft skills. They learn the people skills. And it's just different worlds.
And now they're transitioning to the F-35. So
Right.
that's an entirely different machine. I was out there just a few weeks ago, and we were walking around the F-35 with some pilots, and there were the older pilots that transitioned from the F-16, and they asked one of them how often he got to fly the F-35. He said about once a week. But they have a new pilot, a young pilot, he is just F-35's his first aircraft. And he said he gets to fly about 3 or 4 times a week,
Right.
because he needs to get all those skills
Right.
built up that the older pilots, the more seasoned veterans,
Right.
have. So,
yeah, we call it seasoning training for a reason. And in that case, it's a little less seasoning as opposed to a different kind of seasoning training that we had. But yeah, they have to get the hours in. The older guys, it's a little different. But boy, I'll tell you, when those 35s fly over the house, the 16s were loud, but those 35s, man, they're loud. But I love it. I love hearing them.
I like it because my retirement's kind of dependent on those flying out the door out there.
Yeah, you're right.
Lockheed Martin.
Mm-hmm.
But the F-35 and those pilots, when the F-16 was there in their pilot lounge, it's got an official name.
Yeah.
But they had an older picture of the F-16 and the squadron pilots around that F-16, and Merge, he asked me to do an updated picture. And so I had the honor to go out there and do an updated picture a couple of years ago, and the Fort Worth Air Power Council paid to have it framed, and now it's hanging in the pilot's recreation room.
In the lounge.
In the lounge.
Yes.
And
I can't remember the name of it either.
It's named after somebody.
Yeah, I can't remember anymore.
But hopefully this fall, I'll be able to go back and take a picture of the pilots with F-35.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
I think that'll be real cool. Let's listen to a friend of ours, Damon Harvey. And Damon is a veteran, and he's also real involved with the Tarrant County Vietnam Memorial. So this is Damon.
This is Damon Harvey, and you are with the
Tarrant County Vietnam Memorial Foundation.
And you've been working for several years.
Yes.
Trying to get a memorial for our Vietnam veterans.
Yes, sir.
And those, not just the veterans, but specifically those 200 and something Tarrant County residents that died in Vietnam.
Yes, sir. The 237 is the number we're at right now, but we're also doing what we can to include those that have died of things like Agent Orange, post-war related deaths, because there's no nice way to put it, but they died over there. They just didn't finish dying over there. So we didn't see it being right to exclude them. So, but we need the community's help finding those people, because there's no database for us to go with that one. But some news that we've had recently is the city of Fort Worth has backed our memorial at 50% up to $200,000. And then just this last week, we signed our contract with our engineering firm to get the process all started. So we're still in the fundraising stages. We got bricks that can be purchased to go around the memorial, or we're just taking donations. And there's different levels of donations that can be made and be honored on the memorial itself.
And you have a website?
Yes, sir. It's https://tcvmf.us.
Okay, I'll put all that in the description on this, whenever we post it.
All right.
But that's exciting because it's at the corner of Camp Bowie and Clover Lane in
Right.
West Fort Worth.
Yes, sir.
There's a Veterans Park there.
Yes, sir.
And we do have a little monument back there, kind of on the west corner, southwest corner, with the Medal of Honor recipients.
Yes,
from-
sir. Robert Laws specifically is who it is. He is one of the several people that received distinguished awards. I mean, specifically the Medal of Honor with him. We've had several.
Horace Carswell is
Right.
another
Right.
one. But
I was talking about specifically at
Yeah.
Vietnam that didn't return back. So Vietnam on that one, but that did not return from Vietnam. He is one of those. We had a couple air medal. We had various medals. I mean, but countless untold stories of heroism. And these people didn't get to leave the legacy that most people did. The average age, I believe the average age in World War II of death was 26. The average age in Vietnam was 23, with an overwhelming 60% that died between the ages of 18 and 21. So their legacies were not left like a normal wartime situation. So because of that, we have to make sure that their stories are not forgotten, and that more importantly, that they are not forgotten.
absolutely. Thank you for all the work you do.
Oh, you bet.
And I'm looking forward to getting it done, and I know you are too.
Oh, yes, sir.
It's
Yes,
been
sir.
a long labor of love for you.
Yes, sir.
So,
Yes, sir, it has.
well, thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Rick.
Thanks for being a roll call.
Oh, yes.
We'll
Thank
see you
you.
later.
And that's just another example of our veterans. You know, they go serve in the military and they come back and serve some more.
Yep. I was a part of that group when we first started doing it, and we had students. The design is actually done by a student. I believe he was either like right at 8th grade or 9th grade. He's fairly young at the time, and it was his design that was selected. So we had a whole bunch of designs. And we spent a lot of months going through meetings and meetings and meetings to pick the design. And then, of course, the young man received, I don't remember how, he got some kind of fund for his scholarship kind of a thing. But once we picked it, then we had to go back, and then it had to go through design and, you know, what can we do? We can't really do it this way. So we had to go through all of that kind of stuff. So we finally got down to this is what's going to go there. And we actually did that ribbon cutting. I think you were there.
Yeah, they're groundbreaking.
Yep, we did that. And boy, that's been several years ago.
We probably had at least 8 or 10 Medal of Honor recipients there.
Yeah, it was really something. And once people see it, they'll appreciate it. But you can't get it done without the funding. And of course, once we got past the design and all that kind of stuff, I just didn't have the time to continue to be part of that. Also, you spread yourself too thin. But Damon and Jim Hodgson and all those folks that have been working this since the beginning are just doing a great job with it. And it will be spectacular once it's done. And people can buy a brick. And it's not expensive to buy a brick, and then you have put whatever it is you want to put on that. You want to buy a brick for somebody, want to buy a brick for yourself, you can do that and help fund that project, because it is going to be really, and it's going to be a place that people can go and sit and reflect and think about what people went through in that Vietnam, in Vietnam.
And that park, you know, it's just on the west side of Fort Worth. And I need to get a brick for myself and for my wife, Sue, you know, because we're two Arlington Heights kids. We went to middle school just right a couple of blocks from there. And we lived in our first 2 places just a couple of blocks from there after we got married. So,
yeah. And you're both Vietnam veterans.
Vietnam era veterans, yeah.
Yeah. So you definitely need to have some bricks out there.
So I need to do that, or if there's somebody out there that wants to do that.
If somebody would like, and that's a great idea. Somebody could do that as a gift for you. They could go and do that and do it in your honor. And that would be a really neat thing for people to do for everything that you do for the community, because there is nobody, I think, that's as many places as you in a month. You must not sleep.
Here's one of those people that's everywhere, and this is
Chris.
This is Chris.
Okay, this is Chris, and Chris is a friend of mine, and she's also involved in so many different organizations that help military, help veterans, help the families of military, and probably a lot of other things. I know you're with the VFW, and so just tell us.
And the American Legion.
American Legion. And,
WWII.
okay.
Yes.
And what, you do a lot of things at the base.
Yes, we do. We try to have an activity each weekend for our military families, so the parents come in and shop and the children get to do something fun to give to mom and dad.
Okay.
We also recognize every birthday, whether it's a regular or if it's a reserve, National Guard. We don't want to leave anyone out.
And what organization does that? What organization are you?
All of them. American Legion, VFWs, DAVA. It just depends on who gets the first. I tell them this is what we're going to do, who wants in on it.
Okay.
Sometimes we have all the groups show up. And I'm with 297 in Benbrook, that American Legion. But we also have 626 on Burton Hill Road, that American Legion. They show up. Disabled American Veteran Auxiliary, Blue Bonnet Chapter, they will. So, I mean, it just depends on what it is. Like this weekend, VFW 8235, they will be out there distributing poppies. And poppies are the flower to remember those who have gone before us.
Because this is a big weekend. This
It's
is
a
Memorial Day
huge
weekend.
It is.
So you're going to be really busy.
Yes.
Busier than usual, or just the same?
You know, people ask me that all the time. I just feel it's part of my day. I get up in the morning and then I can't wait to go to bed at night. So it just flies. My days fly.
But you do so much. Because I look around, I go to different places, and there you are. You're just popping around all the time.
But I think it's the way I was raised. I was raised an Army brat, and you shared.
Yeah.
Okay, you knew when the end of the month was there because you shared with the neighbors. Then I married Air Force. Same difference, okay? Our son and daughter-in-law are both in the Army, and this is just me. So like today, the American Legion Auxiliary brought 6 tie blankets. We like to do those for your door prizes. But during the week, I have 2 other ladies that help me tie them, and we take them to dialysis. So we have a lot of veterans in dialysis, and sometimes they forget a blanket, and I don't want anyone to be cold. So yeah, we do the Patriot House. That's where our homeless veterans live. Patriot House and Liberty House. So we are always collecting things, taking it down there. We just helped open the Airman's Closet on the base, and that is with the 301st, open the first weekend in each month.
I saw that whenever you'll open that, and that will help a lot. So
It really will. And the prices are so cheap, okay? It's kind of like a thrift store, but you know what? When you have a t-shirt for $25, we just want to make it affordable.
yeah.
And the money's raised will go to award ceremonies and also help some of the E1 to E6s be able to go to a dining in and dining out.
Very good. Thank you for all you do. It looks like the honor guard's fixing to present the colors. So thank you, Chris.
Rick.
We'll see you in the
I
roll
just
call.
think the world of you. Thank you.
What a great person.
Yeah, she is. And you're right. She's everywhere.
Absolutely everywhere.
Yeah.
It's so
Yeah.
busy.
It's, and on top of that, she's, also taking care of her husband as he's been having some health struggles. And recently he's been in pretty good shape, but, he has been having some health struggles. And so she's got that as well. And she's always in a good mood. She's always smiling. Sometimes when I'm coming out of the commissary on a Sunday and she's walking through the parking lot, she asks me where her candy is. And of course I didn't buy her any candy, but she's, she always keeps you laughing. She has a great sense of humor, and she definitely it's not about her. It's never
Not
about
at
her.
all.
Never about her.
And
So-
she coordinates all those different organizations. So there's somebody out there every week at NASJRB doing something to take care of our service people and their families.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yep. Then this past weekend was the Army. We all know is the Army's 250th birthday. Happy birthday, Rick, to
Thank you.
your branch. But she was out there doing cake. She does cake at the different, So I think they had 4 different locations that they were doing cake on Saturday. So, when you see those things where they're doing cake for different branches or they're doing cake for, Women's Veterans Day or whatever the case might be, you can count on the fact that Christine is going to be there.
Absolutely. Another person that we have is Dacre Devers, and she comes to roll call and serves, but she also helps set up the Fort Worth Stock Show Veterans Day have every year, and this is Dacre.
This is Dacre. And
Hi.
Dacre, you've been at roll call being a volunteer for a while, haven't you?
Yes, it's been over a year now. Yeah.
Okay. And you work for our county commissioner.
I work for County Commissioner Manny Ramirez for Precinct 4, and he has got a huge heart for veterans, and so I do too. I'm an Air Force brat. My dad comes here. My dad and I come here every month for lunch, and it's close to my heart. I love veterans. I love it. It's like being around family that I've grown up with all my life. So yeah, that's.
Well, I'm glad Manny let you come down here.
Oh my gosh, he lets. Yeah, if it has to do with veterans, he's like, go for it, go. Yeah. He does not care one bit as long as I'm out here helping people.
Manny and I've been friends a long time, and he is a good guy. He's a class act.
He's a good Christian man. He says what he says. He does what he says. He means what he says, and he's a man of many words. And so he definitely is a good, honest, trustworthy commissioner. And I have worked for him for the last 2 years, and he has been the best commissioner and leader that our community has ever had that I've worked for. So
one thing that y'all have done is to have a Veterans Expo at the stock show.
Yes, we have a Tarrant County Salutes Veterans. Every commissioner does a community event, something out there for the community that brings the community together to help one another, to be there for one another, to collaborate in case someone needs help. You never know who you're going to meet. Building relationships is very important in community. And there were always something for seniors, but never anything for veterans. And we have a military base right in our backyard, the Carswell Air Force Joint Reserve Base. But I was born at Carswell, so it's Carswell Air Force Base to me.
That's a prison hospital.
Yeah,
now.
I was born at what's now the ladies' prison. So, but there was never anything for veterans, and so he took a look at it and wanted to bring all these resources to veterans, because sometimes it's hard for the veterans to be able to have something that is for them, that it's hard to find things that are for them, so resources out there. And so what he does is he has this community event called Tarrant County Salutes Veterans, and it's once a year at the Fort Worth Stock Show and Rodeo on Military Appreciation Day. And it's free, 100% of it's free. We are working on free parking. A lot of people wanted free parking last year. That's my goal, is to provide free parking for everyone this next year. It's going to be it's usually the first week in February of every year. And so it's just a time for fellowship, camaraderie, and bringing a bunch of resources together, everything from veteran services to marriage counseling to education opportunity. Oh yeah, education opportunities, employment opportunities. We have people on site ready to hire veterans. They make the best workers. Veterans do.
And it has grown from the first year to the second year. And this next year we'll probably have a lot
We have grown so much that they're looking at getting a bigger place to do it at, other than, it's still going to be there at the Fort Worth Stock Show and Rodeo, but a bigger location. It's grown.
We're
thousands
at
of
the
people.
seams.
Oh my gosh, it is. Thanks to you guys. Roll Call has been an extreme help to us to be able to get the word out and bring people to it. So I appreciate the work that we've done with Roll Call.
Yeah, you've done a good job, and that's that networking that Mary and I like to do, is to network with different organizations, and especially like at that Veterans Expo that we have, because it's just great because that way we can say, oh, you need help, go see them.
Yes, exactly. It's all about getting the word out and collaborating and building relationships. That's the key thing, is to build relationships. I look at myself as like the big sister, not the big brother, but the big sister, if anybody ever needs help, because it's not about me. First and foremost, it's about God. God puts me in that position. God has put it on my heart to help roll call and be an instrument to the veterans, to be able to help them any way that I can help them, because there's some places in government that some veterans can only dream about getting a hold of, not being able to reach out to. But I bridge that gap. Being the big sister that I am, I bridge that gap between the veterans, or anyone in the community rather, to the government entities that they need in order to get to the resolution that they want.
And we appreciate that.
Yes, thank you.
So
I
thank you.
appreciate you guys.
Well, thank you for all you do, Dacre.
Thank you. I
And you're
appreciate
going to be out there directing traffic in a little bit whenever they start
I hope not.
putting all the food out. You're going to
Oh,
be,
yeah.
You're going to be saying 5 plates over here, 2 plates over here.
Yes, you'll see me with my flag out. I'll have my flag open, up, waving high, and that indicates that table is ready for them. Yeah, ready for them to get fed.
Thank you, and thank you, Manny Ramirez, for letting Dacre
Yes,
off
thank
to
you.
come and work.
Thank you so much.
And have a great Memorial Day.
You too. Happy Memorial Day. Thank you.
See you. Thank you.
Just another one of those with a servant's heart.
Yeah. And really, we do collaborate very well. So I know before this last one that they had, Dacre and I met for lunch. She said, "Hey, I want to pick your brain. I'm looking for some ideas." And so we sat down, we had lunch, and we just talked through, what are some other groups that should be out here for people? And we went, I'm like, well, have you thought of this one and this one and this one? Because as a first sergeant, I had to go find resources too. And so we were able to link her up with a few other folks that she may not have thought of before, or they didn't. The first year, you're always trying to figure things out. The second year, you're getting it a little bit more. And to your point with her, I think next year will be even more crowded. And even if you have to pay for the parking, and, to me, it was, I think if you told them at the gate that you were there for the expo, I don't think they charged you.
They didn't charge you admission, but I think they charge you parking. Maybe.
Yeah, I just can't remember, because I thought that, and again, I just don't remember. I always bring Don, and he's there to sing. But the nice thing about being where it is right now is that you can just walk next door, because it includes a voucher for, I think, $11 or whatever it is, $11 or $15 for food. I made the mistake of saying free lunch, and some folks assumed that meant, however much they wanted to eat. And they said, it didn't cover my lunch. Well, okay. So, you had to pay $5 or something. I don't know. But it does include a voucher for you to go right next door to the expo and get something to eat. So if you're there over the course of that, and then there's also the drawings that they do. So you can go through and you can, get entered into drawings there. It's really neat. And last year we had Kelly Krager with the Vietnam Veteran Project, and 4 or 5 Vietnam veterans that he then had up on stage and interviewed. Bill Henry and Doug Peterson were a couple of those. And it was really nice, because folks can sit down, they can hear some stories, but they're also able to do things like get help from the Texas Veterans Commission if they needed help figuring out how to do paperwork for their disability claim, or they needed to register. A lot of people struggled with registering for the PACT Act. That was a big thing, kept getting pushed and pushed and pushed the deadline, because so many people were having trouble getting registered for that. So if you were in an area where there was a burn pit and some other things, then you qualify for that. And so they were there registering people on the spot. And there were just so many things, to her point. If you were looking for a job, there's somebody there you could talk to. You want to go to school? There were colleges there telling you how you could go to school at no cost. They have veterans representatives at the colleges that know how to help you use your benefits, whether that's Hazelwood or GI Bill. They can walk you through it. So it really is a neat thing, and Daiquiri does a great job herding a lot of cats.
She
And
does.
she herds the cats at the lunch too, especially now with Miriam gone.
And that, the whole day is Military Appreciation Day. And that evening, you can get tickets to the rodeo. Hillwood
Yeah.
donated this year, and the Air Power Foundation, Don sang the national anthem.
Right.
And then we had 20 or 30 new recruits take the oath of enlistment and then enjoy the rodeo too. So, I mean, it's just a full day of honoring our veterans. We just want to take Matt Carter and his staff at Fort Worth Stock Show and Rodeo for all they do to make it a smooth, nice event. So,
yeah, and folks should put in their calendar that when they start selling the tickets for the stock show and rodeo in September, that's the same time that you can take your military documentation down and you can get your free tickets for military night. If you wait until December or January, chances are there aren't going to be any. So you need to just get a little reminder in your calendar for when they start selling the tickets. It's the same time that you can get those. But yeah, that is just such a blessing that they can do that. So if you get the parking to go to the expo, come to the expo, have lunch, go through the expo, then stay for the rodeo.
That's right.
And you're parked already. You don't have to pay to park again to come that night. See,
life is good.
Problem solved, right?
We've got another great supporter, and that's Dr. Melanie Throne. She's been coming to roll call for several years, and she does a lot for our veterans. And she's on the committee that the Fort Worth Air Power Council and the Air Power Foundation have put together the food bank for the, whatever you call it, what do you call that out there? Fleet and Family Services. So she's on that with Lorna and some other people. So this is Dr. Throne.
This is Dr. Melanie Throne. And Melanie is one of our roll call volunteers. And she's also with the Fort Worth Air Power Council, and you work with the Air Power Foundation too.
Yes.
So how'd you get involved with roll call?
With roll call, you invited me.
Well,
that was my first time, and I had followed you and you coming out early on for at least a year or two, and I expressed an interest, and you invited me.
Well, I'm glad you're here.
It is the highlight of my month, every single month, to get to come out here and take off from work and be here and spend time with all of you veterans, hearing your stories. It's just absolutely the highlight of my month.
Well, I'm glad that you have gotten into roll call, because you do a lot for roll call, but you also do a lot for our military families at NASJRB Fort Worth. Tell us about what you're doing there.
Yes, we've just taken a position. The Air Power Council has decided to make a thrust to try and help support the food bank out there for our active reservists that make next to nothing for a salary. And many of them are in dire straits to even afford food, basic toiletries, things like that. And so I'm trying to, along with a couple of other gals in the Air Power Council, we're trying to come into some of the area businesses and see if maybe they would allow us to put a collection box, and try to just get clientele as they come and go to just one can at a time, or one bottle of shampoo from Dollar Tree. It can really make a difference out there, and it starts to add up if the whole community chips in. Spend $1.25 now at Dollar Tree, and bring something with you every time you come to a business that you know is collecting, and it makes a huge difference, and it really starts to add up kind of at the grassroots level. So if you have a business and you want a box, let me know, or get with Rick, because we are actively placing boxes right now, and nothing goes unappreciated out there. So that kind of sums up what we do there. And then, of course, we work with Holidays and Heroes out there too, both all year long. Carrie does so much out there for the base, and then the big thrust at Christmas time and Thanksgiving with the meals, and but at Christmas time giving gifts to the families that are in need and wouldn't have Christmas maybe otherwise. So.
But there's a lot of needs out there.
There's a lot of
and
need out there.
We have great people like Melanie that are out there trying to fill the gap and help these military families.
Right. Well, I feel like it's a big nothing burger on my part because it really they do so much for us. They've given me freedom, and I just appreciate their service and all their sacrifice. And so it's the least that I can do to just give back a little bit. It's such a small token, but it's such an important. In this day and age, they're very underappreciated, I think, and don't get enough recognition like they deserve. So it's very important to me to give back in that way.
And it's important to have people like you that are willing to get out there and give back and help coordinate things like the food bank.
Right,
So,
right. Yes, the food bank has really been, especially on my heart of late, to watch it go and dwindle to practically nothing, and to know that people are suffering out there that are part of our military and are trying to protect us and standing on that line, to protect us for our freedoms. And it's heartbreaking to think that they're going without.
and you can find out more information about these programs or the food bank by going to airpower.org, or you can go roll-call.org. Either one of those places can get you hooked up with the food bank. So.
Yes, for sure. I have a box at my office as well that sits out front. You don't even have to have an appointment.
Where's your?
I'm at 6417 Southwest Boulevard
And
here
that's
in Fort Worth,
Mira
kind of on the
Vista-
Mira Vista Cosmetic Dentistry.
Okay.
Yes.
And this is Melanie Throne, Dr. Melanie Throne. Thank you for all you do, Melanie.
Oh, you're
I'm
so
glad
welcome.
I'm glad
Thank
you're
you
a
for
part
my-
of all
well,
this.
Thank you for my freedom and for your service. Appreciate
you.
you. Uh-huh.
God bless.
God bless you too.
Let's go to roll call.
Let's go.
She's great. And if somebody needs a dentist, my husband said she's the best dentist
She's a
he's
great dentist.
ever had. And he does not like the dentist. So if that speaks volumes, it should. So if you need a dentist, she's your lady.
We talked a lot about our volunteers and some veterans and even somebody that's active reservist like Mitch Hansen. But, we do have a coordinator that coordinates the volunteers, and that's Steve Gross. And Steve has a very unique background. He was the assistant sheriff in LA County. I bet that he is glad that he's sitting in Texas going to roll call Friday instead of out there working with all the law enforcement people. But this is Steve Gross.
This is Steve Gross, and Steve is the volunteer coordinator for
Yes.
roll call, board member, vice president. Is that what you're?
Just board member,
Okay.
volunteer
Okay.
coordinator.
But Steve's going to tell us how important it is to have volunteers, because volunteers are the lifeblood of any organization.
Absolutely. So in roll call, we have a group of volunteers. On our rolls, maybe 100. They don't all come at the same time. But what volunteers do, the biggest thing they do is they help with the luncheons. And here at the luncheons, what the volunteers will do is they'll help with the preparation of the food and the serving of the food, and then with cleanup. We have volunteers that come here. Usually about 30 will come during the month to help, because we have 500 members here that need to be fed, and so the volunteers are an integral part of that. We also have volunteers that do things such as letter writing and cards to the veterans on their birthdays. We have volunteers that will help us with transporting veterans to events. We'll have volunteers that will go visit with veterans, do home visits, because, visiting them and taking care of them. And then we have volunteers that will help just a variety of different things, like going to the parade or going to other events with us and helping out. So, and even with fundraising, helping out with fundraising. So our volunteers are important, because without them, we're a nonprofit. We have no employees. So essentially, I'm a volunteer, even though I'm a veteran as well. But everyone here that helps is a volunteer.
Nope, you're muted, Rick.
I hit the wrong button.
I was going to say, what happened to Steve?
Let's find Steve again.
Then, of course, we have many community members from different groups. Like today, we have the Texas Women's Ranger Club that come to volunteer. We have groups from schools that come and volunteer to do community service. We have groups like the Daughters of the American Revolution that come and help and so forth. So we have quite a few volunteers that are out here and very consistently helping with all of our events.
Because it's not just a one-time deal once a month. Just like you said,
Right.
Taking veterans to the baseball game or taking them to the doctor and things like that.
Right, and even you're a volunteer, right?
Yeah.
Because you're volunteering your time and you're doing things like the show with Mary, and you're coming here taking pictures. Those are all volunteer things, and so a lot of people bring things to the table for us that we would have to pay for normally. So anyone that's doing anything like that. So for example, I'm looking down there, we have ROTC that volunteers. They come and do our color guard, high school ROTCs from different schools, Air Force ones, Marine ones, etc. So really where I look around, everyone's kind of a volunteer, but if you're interested in being a volunteer, you can go to our website at roll-call.org, and you can sign up to be a volunteer. It comes to me, and then I reach out to you, and I get you all signed up.
And also you can sign up just to be, a member of Roll Call. We don't badger you with a lot of emails all the time.
Right.
Just the important one about, hey, it's reservation time.
Right.
Because the reservations, we only have about 500 spots every month, and they go quick.
Absolutely. So on our rolls, we have people, about 1,500 veterans that we can have come at any time. Well, we can only, due to fire capacity regulations, have about 500. And so when we get you on our rolls, one of the good things about being on it is that we notify you of events, we notify you of the luncheon so you can RSVP. And that's important to do that early because we fill up. So like you said, we don't just send out stuff, we don't solicit you, we don't sell your information. The only thing we use it for is to keep you informed about our organization or something that directly impacts the veterans. So, and one of the other things I didn't say is veterans can be volunteers as well. So we have, just citizens that do it because they love the military and want to support. But we also have younger veterans, I'll say, such as myself, even though 60 is young here, and that are still able to help. And so we have veterans that want to step up and do that as a volunteer, and that's another way to volunteer.
Well, thank you, and you do a great job getting all the
Thanks.
volunteers lined up, because that's not all you do for Roll Call. You do a lot more than just coordinate the volunteers. So
Yeah, there's a lot of aspects to it. Anywhere it's almost like all hands on deck, and whatever needs to be done gets done.
Right.
So like right now, I'm doing some fundraising
that's
because
good. We need funds.
we have a gun raffle coming up, and so I'm going to be stepping over and doing that today, helping out our fundraising.
Very good. And that's Steve Gross, and you can go to roll-call.org to find more about Roll Call, how you can become a member, and how you can become a volunteer, and you can even become a sponsor or a donor right there on the website.
Speaking of fundraising, yes, you can donate to us. I personally myself donate, so I believe in the organization. It's well run. It's very tightly run, so your money is in good hands. And so not only do I volunteer, but I also donate.
Very good, Steve. Thank you so much.
Absolutely.
Go sell some gun tickets.
Thank you.
For the gun raffle.
And that's Steve. And, you see somebody like that, and you think about the responsibility he had as being the assistant sheriff in L.A. And Bill Wayborn, he's got maybe 1,500, 2,000 people. The sheriff in Dallas County's got about 3,000. And Steve, just his department, not the whole sheriff's department, but just what he had to take care of, was 7,000 or 8,000 people. So
Yeah, it's a big thing. And then he was a chief in the Air Force. And so he had a lot of responsibility there. He deployed doing a lot of secret squirrel stuff. And, before he took on, we tried a couple of times to get a volunteer coordinator. And once we got, we had his daughter, Jessica Gross. She came around and was helping us with some stuff. And then her dad moved to Fort Worth, or to the Lido area, and she got him involved, and it's been the best thing because having him take care of the volunteers has really made us do a better job of recognizing and appreciating them and making sure that we knew who we had and that they, that we were able to communicate and coordinate. And, a couple of people that volunteer every month and we really never recognize, sit at the front table checking people in. And they are with Jorston Logistics out of Burleson. And the owner is a veteran. And of course, he loves our veterans. And so his son, Justin Braswell, and then one of the other big wigs, I can't remember his title, but Ed Hark, they come every month. They get there early. They sit at the check-in table and they check people in. And then after they're done with that, they go back to work. And it's, so if you're looking for a logistics company, reach out to Jorston because, they're putting they're showing us how they care about our veterans by allowing folks to come. And when Justin couldn't be here one month, they brought somebody else. And I wish I could remember his name, but he was a veteran too. So I met him and last month or the month before he was there. But they are there every month without fail. Once we changed to the new check-in system, we needed somebody who could work technology, and those guys stepped up and they're helping to teach other people and everything. So we have really been blessed by folks, and with Steve doing what Steve does. And I love how you threw in the vice president thing. I keep trying to work him, but he's not ready to stop going on vacation all the time.
You said something at the last meeting about that, you were going to step down sometime,
right?
But you wanted to have some people coming up through the ranks, and all of a sudden everybody said, Mary's leaving. No, she's not.
Mary's not leaving. Yeah, that was a point of a communication issue there. The goal is to find a couple of people that are really interested, that have the skill set. Because everybody can want to lead an organization like Roll Call, but you need to come to the table with the right skill set, or be willing to learn. And so the goal is to find a couple of people that want to come aboard. Then they can start as a volunteer, and then maybe they become a board member. But then they see how the operation works, just like you got to see how everything works. And then as time goes on, you make that decision. I started as the secretary in 2017. Then I was the vice president, and then the president. So you really need somebody to come on board that can start to learn the organization, understand how we operate, and then have the skills to one day lead the organization. Because I've been doing this, I've been with it since 2017. And I love Roll Call, and I don't plan to go anywhere anytime soon. But sooner or later, you have to have some turnover in the leadership, because you need fresh ideas too. You need new ways of thinking and doing, and you gotta keep growing the organization. So you always try to find somebody that can do a better job than you. And that's my hope, is that I can find somebody that loves it as much as I do and can do a better job than me.
And you do a great job.
Well, I appreciate that. Sometimes I don't feel that way, but
one of the things that we have to have in any nonprofit is some money.
Right.
And so we have a gun raffle, and it's 20 guns in 20 minutes. We had it last year at the clay shoot, and it was spectacular. They take a ticket. The person wins, they put the ticket back in. So there were several people that won more than one gun.
Right.
And so you can go to this QR code and scan that and find out. You can get your ticket right there. And then now through July the 4th, if you invite somebody to buy tickets, then you can get a ticket. Is that correct?
Free. Yes. Yeah. So if you shared, let's say, Rick, you go out and you got a buddy you're out having lunch with tomorrow, and you say to your buddy, hey, if you go in and you buy 3 tickets, then I'm going to get a free ticket. Then if that buddy goes out and gets somebody else to buy 3 tickets and they email Jeff your name, then you get another ticket for free. So this is just one way because we don't always want to ask our members. The goal of the luncheon is for it to be a free luncheon for the veterans. So we don't want to use our veterans as how we're raising those funds. We want to find people in the community that love our veterans and have a heart for the veterans. And this is a great way to support the organization, is you can buy these raffle tickets, and potentially, to your point, Rick, I think we had 3 people that won more than one gun last year. And then so if you're a roll call member, you have them email Jeff, and boom, you get a free ticket. So it's a great deal, and it will help us get the word out so that family and friends can start purchasing the tickets for the gun raffle. We're on a much shorter deadline this year. We did it in a 3-month instead of, I think last year we did it over the course of about 6 months.
So we need to sell some tickets.
Yep. So we just wanted it to be fun and get it out there. There's some great weapons. You can see the guns, the gun list. When you go to the website, you can see it, pull it right up on our website. And there's not any that you wouldn't want to win.
Absolutely. Another thing that's going on right now is the Air Power Foundation. They're having a walk. It's walk 22 miles in June. It's not too late to sign up. You just got to walk a lot more every day to make it by the end of June. But the proceeds will go to help buy a service dog for somebody that is suffering from PTS. So you can go to the airpowerfoundation.org. And then July 31st is the 2nd annual Fort Worth Stockyards Patriot Roundup. And that's going to be another great event to go to. You can go again to Fort Worth Air Power Foundation, and find out more information about that. Skyball is coming up the 25th of October. Just camp out there on airpowerfoundation.org and find out about all these events. Another thing that's coming up is this Saturday at the American Legion Hall. And that is, let me find the address. That's American Legion Hall 655. That's Chad Page is the commander out there. They're going to have Veterans Appreciation Day. You go out there and you get free barbecue meal.
That's the one in Haltom City.
Yeah, and it's at 2817 Carson in Haltom City. They're also going to have a vintage collectible toy show going on. So you can not only get free meal if you're a veteran, but you can enjoy the toy show. Roll call, sponsor a veteran. This is $20 a month. Will help defray the cost of a meal and help some of the other activities that Roll Call does. So just a lot of stuff going on. And if you go to our YouTube channel and become a subscriber, you'll get notified whenever we have a new podcast coming up. So just a lot of stuff going on, and it takes a lot of people. It takes a lot of volunteers. It takes a lot of donors.
It does. Everything works together.
It does indeed. Mary, it's been a good time sharing our friends with our audience, those people that come to Roll Call, those people, even like Melanie Throne, she does stuff with Roll Call. She does stuff with the Fort Worth Air Power Council, with the Air Power Foundation. And then she does a lot of things with the Fort Worth Police Department and our first responders. So it's people like that that make things great. So
You betcha.
we've enjoyed this, and we're going to let Don sing God Bless America, and we'll see you next week on Hometown Heroes. Iwo Jima survivor Don Graves singing God Bless America on his 100th birthday.
God bless America, land that I love. Stand beside her and guide her through the night with a light from above, from the mountain to the prairie, to the ocean. Why, we're born. God bless America, my home, sweet home. God bless America, our home, sweet